What t-shirt contest?
He's like, I'm gonna kill you. It's like this is why we did not film in the rain. What's up, guys? So today we've got a special one for you. We're gonna build a live well out of a cooler, which we have nicknamed the Cool Well, or Mont likes to call it the cooler live well than yours. This is for bass fishermen. This is for anybody who needs a fish to stay alive. The concept, I think, is that the cooler is insulated, which continues to keep the fish alive and not put them in a hot tub. So let's get into the build. All right, so you're not going to need much for this build at all. You know, just the size of the cooler doesn't really matter. Okay, this is it's really just personal preference. What you're going to be fishing for, number one, if you're fishing for crappie, brim, something like that, and you're going to be out there all day, this is going to be a good option. You know, it will work for bass. You know, you got to think to yourself, like, a normal bass boat has got 2 live wells. This is roughly the size of one of those live wells. We've got several of these. We got the one that you've seen in our videos it's a little bit bigger of a cooler. But the size doesn't matter. Personal preference. The thing that does matter is the size of your aerator. Okay, these things can only aerate up to a certain amount of gallons, which, I mean, this one's a 52 quart. What is that? So yeah, I'll put the math up on the screen. I don't know how many quarts is, you know, it's huge. But what I'm getting at, the important part is make sure your aerator will handle how much water you put in here. I have one that would only aerate 8 gallons. So what I did is I filled the cooler, took a gallon jug, filled the cooler up with 8 gallons, and then I drew a line on the cooler. So I knew where to fill up to every time. I didn't have to measure out 8 gallons every time. I would just fill it to that line and then we're good. Okay, the next thing that you're gonna need, you don't have to have these. This is also just something extra that I like, are these little hose clamp holders. I mean, this is what they look like right here. So, I mean, there's not much to them. But, yeah, just something to hold it so where you're not going to get snagged on the tubing line when you're handling these things. You're not going to pull it out from the aerating stone, because if you pull it out, you know, or disconnect it from the aerator, your fish aren't getting any oxygen. That's no bueno. We don't want that. But a drill with a 1/4-inch drill bit. Then a Phillips head screwdriver. I don't recommend you doing this with an impact. You'll send it into there, and we're not trying to put as many holes in this as possible. We want this thing to remain cool. You know, the more holes you put into this, the hotter the cooler is going to get. You're breaking that insulation. But yeah. So what we would do to start out, this thing it's super quick, easy build. But you're just going to you're just going to drill a hole in there. It doesn't have to be pretty. You can see my work. You can tell I'm a plumber, not a builder. But you're just going to put a hole in there, kind of clean it out a little bit. And then you're going to put one on the other side right here. Let's see if I can make this one prettier. Yeah, that's all you do there. Then you're going to go to the inside of your cooler right here. I've got these cut at 2 different lengths. You do not have to have 2. I prefer 2. Some of you marine biologists in there might say that I'm putting too much oxygen in there. I don't think that you personally can. The worst case scenario is that the fish is too lively. I might be wrong on that though. Leave a comment. Let me know if there's a way that we can improve this, because I'm all ears. So we're going to take our tube. We're going to run it through the holes that we just drilled. It's going to come out the other side right there. Make sure you don't have any of that plastic in there. We don't want to get it jammed up and jam up our aerating stones. Some of these, now all brands are different. These come with a weight already on them. If You know, you'll have to follow the instructions of the aerator that you buy. Ours already have the weight. Some of them you have to put the weight on too. So just remember to do that. You don't want your aerating, you know, so to be at the top. Some of them don't have weight to them. Then you're going to take the other one, stick it out. Like I said, sometimes you'll get this junk in there. Just get that out. Make sure that your tube is clear. We don't want to jam that up. We want the fish to be able to breathe. So that's it. Also, you want to adjust the length on these. Make sure that they're not going to be like this. You know, the purpose of having two in there is that if the boat moves or the fish move the stones or whatever, it can't go to one side and the other and then everything be over here in the corner. We want it to be, you know, distributed in a way where it's only going to go to the middle. You see what I'm saying? It's a worst case scenario, we got this. But just like that. Okay. Moving on to the outside. All right, so this one came with check valves, so no debris gets back into the aerator itself. They've got little arrows on them. Make sure that those arrows are pointing towards the stones, not towards your aerator. So that's important. If you point them towards the aerator, it's not going to be getting any oxygen. We don't want that. So we are going to connect that one right there, and we're going to leave the other one right now. We're just connecting this one so we can gauge it. Okay? Then we're going to flip this over on its side. Also, very important, we got a little ant on there. When you buy your screws for this, you want to make sure that they are not going to be able to go through the sidewall completely. As you see, these right here get close, but they don't go through the other side. I also have a space in between mine too. So measure your distance and the thickness of your cooler. You don't want to penetrate the side of your cooler and leave that point sticking into your cooler. You don't want to stab the fish. You don't want it to cause a leak in your live well. You just want to be able to hold the aerator onto it without puncturing the inside wall of that cooler. So moving on to this part, we're gonna have to flip it over again. We are going to screw that in. Then we're going to connect our last one right here. So, and you can push these in. You don't want a lot of tube hanging out because you don't want to hook the tube and rip your aerator off or disconnect the tube. Like I said, if the tube's disconnected, then the fish aren't getting any oxygen. We don't want that. You have to cut the tube to length. So this is, we don't have these. This is where our little tubing holders are going to come into play here. We're going to flip it over again. Check it out. Boom. Miss. So also with these, be sure that the reason I'm putting the screws right here and here instead of right here, it's a little bit thicker in the middle. I'm just using drywall screws here, nothing too fancy. The screws really don't matter in this. You're not holding up a wall or anything, any sort of weight. Just make sure you put it through the thickest part of your cooler up high. Also, something that I forgot to mention, the reason that I drilled these holes right here instead of the bottom is obviously so if you go above the water line with the holes, you know, you're not going to drain out your water. There's not much room for error here, you know. I mean, if you go down below that water line, it's going to be pouring out. That's going to be less water you can put inside this Livewell. But yeah, there she is. She's ready to go. It does not matter. We got the one that hooks to a battery. I've had some too that just take batteries and AA's. It doesn't matter. Just like I said, just make sure that it can hold the amount of water that you have in your cooler. We also have battery ones that makes them portable for you guys that are bank fishermen. That's really handy. You don't have to tote a car battery with you. You can also, some added things here, you can put some Lexel inside these holes to help watertight them. Make sure that the far one right here isn't kinked, and you should be good to go. All right, we're gonna take it outside, put some water in this, show how it works. Quick, super easy build. But yeah, let's go check it out. Here's the other cooler Livewell. Y'all probably seen in the videos. Where are we going with this? Let's get to the boat. On that. Let's go put some water in this. You already got it.
Yeah, what t-shirt contest?
He's like, I'm gonna kill you. It's like this is why we did not film in the rain. Also, we know that some live wells are insulated, but if you go out and buy a John boat, like what we've got here, most of the time if you have a live well built, it's just gonna be thin aluminum. Which works fine, don't get me wrong. It just doesn't insulate that water. And that's what we like, is that water to be insulated. The cooler your water is, the longer your fish are gonna live. So even if I had a live well, I would still do this simply because it's insulated. Also, you don't have to have a bag when you go to the weigh-in. You can just take the whole cooler, which is nice. Okay, that's good. Now, in the very heat of summer, when it starts getting, you know, in the upper 90s to 100 degrees, I still put in some Rejuvenade. So, not a sponsor, but good stuff. GGUs, there's a lot of brands out there that basically add adrenaline to the water. You don't have to put much, just a little half a cap in there, and then add that to it. Okay? Maybe a little bit more now. There's a little bit more water in there than what I thought. Add that to it. You don't really have to mix it up. The bubbles are going to mix it up for us. But yeah, once you do that, we're good to go. Another good thing to add to this, if that water temperature still gets up there, you can also add ice to it. But with the insulated cooler, with the ice and the Rejuvenade, you should be good to go. You should be good to go. Those fish should be absolutely fine. Now, I'm not saying stick 20 of them in this, you know, but yeah, you can kind of judge it. Depends on how big a fish you're putting in there. All right, y'all. Also, one more important thing that I will add for any of you guys that are tournament fishing out of a John boat like us is make sure your cooler kind of has that snap to it or lock, because they can jump out of there. I don't know if we have any footage of that. Do we have any footage of that one jumping out?
We might.
If we have any footage of that, he'll edit it in and show you.
I got the trolling motor turned off right now.
But yeah, they can come out of it. So if they do that, there are several locks that you can put on these things to just kind of snap it, or even a little hinge lock will be fine. But yeah, appreciate it. Good luck to y'all guys fishing.